FC27, what do you think your rating is?
79.
76.
Have announced that they are rebranding their under-19 and under-21 teams as Cobham Next Gen from this season under head coach Harry Hudson. Chelsea say the new identity better reflects the age of their leading academy players and the club's tradition of developing the next generation for the senior game. Now, their official names will remain unchanged for the Premier League, the FA and UEFA competitions, so it'll still be under-19 and under-21s there. But Cobham Next Gen will be used internally and publicly by Chelsea. Is there any need for this, Simon?
Who cares?
Do you scratch your head and you think, well, the fans are up in arms about it?
Why?
Well, they feel, no, we want the under-19s to be the under-19s and the under-21s to be the under-21s. That this is nothing more than an Americanization of those two teams. Cobham Next Gen. It's corporate guff, isn't it?
I don't know what I'm supposed to say to it. I mean, who cares?
You're ambivalent.
I'm disinterested. As long as you produce good players and they've got a fast track into the Chelsea first team, who cares what they call them?
Well, it's reflecting the club's tradition of developing the next generation for the senior game.
It's a play on words, isn't it? For what, though? To achieve what? Is it marketing? Is it going to be easier to get some sort of form of marketing or sponsorship of the kids? That I don't know.
Well, that's what they say it's about. The developing the next generation for the senior game. Because this is Chelsea, is there not something of an irony here, Simon? And is it not the height of irony when under Bole and Egbali, the sole purpose of Chelsea's academy has been to satisfy PSR,
Is that right?
and not feeding the seniors?
Yeah, it is ironic, I think.
So what you're saying is
That's what we were led to believe.
But is that the sole purpose of it then? Is that an established fact? So when they sold Mohamed Salah, and when they sold Kevin De Bruyne, and when they sold Romelu Lukaku as young players, was it the purpose of Roman Abramovich's academy to sell the young players, or was it just a consequence of the fact that some of these young players aren't good enough to get into the first team of Chelsea? Who are we listing as a list of players that have left Chelsea that were so prevalent to Chelsea's first team?
No, but none of those players you've just listed came from Chelsea's academy.
They were in Chelsea's academy.
Well, Lewis Hall, Mason Mount, there's loads, but I take your point.
They were in their youth setup.
Pure profit. Chelsea generated more than £250 million from academy player sales across the first 3 seasons of the Blue Coat era.
Right, so we know.
Who are they? Bole and Egbali.
So we know as a matter of fact that it's more economic to produce homegrown players from your academy to go in your first team from a wage point of view, from a transfer point of view, but because of the bias towards the ownership model of this particular football club, their sole function in life for the academy, which by the way was Manchester United's premise as well. Man United loved to produce players so they could sell them on. So they could produce them, knew they weren't going to be good enough for their first team and sold them on. So when we go through this group of players that come out of the academy, and I'm not defending, I'm talking about the uninformed nonsense that no one knows to be a fact. No one knows that the whole purpose of Chelsea's academy is to sell it to comply with PSR, because they sold the women's football team to do that, and they sold the hotels to do that.
I get that, but it was a very useful vehicle for them, wasn't
That's
it?
what academy should be.
But in the area of PSR,
but an academy should be a factory for producing 2 things: players that are good enough to go in your first team,
not to satisfy PSR,
and players that you can sell to lesser sides. That's how it works in the real world.
PSR did come after the academies, so the PSR is some circumstance.
But we're seeding this conversation in an established fact, which it is not an established fact. We do not know that the business agenda of Chelsea, all we've seen is the fact they've sold players. Now, which one of these players was a shoe-in to go into their first team? That the ones that they've sold that we are saying are absolutely the reasons why their academy exists. Because I would imagine that any sensible club owner, which might exclude Chelsea's ownership for the purpose of this conversation, would know that getting players out of your academy into your first team that are good enough for your first team is a clearer and better economic route to financial outcomes that are better for you than selling them for PSR and buying another player for 120 million quid.
That Chelsea generated more than 250 million from academy player sales across the first 3 seasons of Blue Coat,
which tells you
because it was all about pure profit.
How many? I don't know how many players Manchester City have sold from their academy that generated significant. Oh, so Man City's all right though, right?
Morgan
But
Rogers,
Chelsea's
Cole
not.
Palmer, Jadon
Right,
Sancho.
so all these players that were sold from their academy, but that narrative is okay because Man City good, Chelsea ownership bad.
Cobham next gen, then you're having it.
No, I couldn't care less about it. It's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
And if the Chelsea fans sitting there
It's a
with
bit
their
silly.
scrapbooks,
It's a bit silly.
it's a bit silly. But what difference does it make?
Doesn't.
It makes no difference whatsoever.
Estevao has just given Chelsea fans another glimpse of what he can do. The Brazilian youngster was back in training with the Chelsea squad today, and one particular moment immediately caught the attention of everyone watching at Cobham. During the session, Estevao took on Xabi Alonso and dribbled past the Chelsea boss, showing incredible confidence and quick feet. It may have been a training ground moment, but it perfectly demonstrated the kind of player Chelsea have brought into the squad. Estevao is not the type of winger who wants to receive the ball and simply pass it backwards. He wants to attack. He wants to take players on. And when he sees an opportunity to dribble, he doesn't seem afraid to go for it. That fearless mentality is one of the qualities that has made him so exciting. And imagine having the confidence to take on your own manager during training. Alonso will obviously be hoping to develop Estevao's game even further. The young Brazilian already possesses tremendous technical ability, but under Alonso, he will also be expected to understand the tactical side of the game, improve his positioning and become more effective without the ball. Chelsea have invested heavily in young talent, and Estevao is one of the players who could become a huge part of the club's future. But competition for places will be extremely difficult. With players like Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers and João Pedro also fighting for attacking positions, Estevao will have to prove that he deserves regular minutes. And moments like today's training session are exactly how he can make that impression. Of course, nobody should judge a player based on one training ground dribble. The real test will come when Estevao faces Premier League defenders under competitive pressure. But Chelsea fans can certainly enjoy what they're seeing. The confidence is there. The skill is there. And the willingness to take risks is certainly there. Now it's up to Xabi Alonso to turn that raw talent into consistent performances. Estevao has already shown that he isn't afraid to take on anyone at Cobham, not even his own manager. The Premier League season is coming,